Your daughter at 17 bought her first duplex.
Yeah,
which
she was
is
16, but yes.
16. Totally crazy. And she's following in your footsteps, the good, the bad.
Yes.
We like beat ourselves up over like, I wish I had curly hair. I wish I had straight hair. I hate my gray hair, so I'm getting it colored every 2 freaking weeks, right?
Yeah.
They're watching that.
Yeah, they totally are. And it's funny you put it that way, because I just had this conversation with someone else too, because you know, now she just turned 18, literally July 30th, and she feels all this pressure of like, I have to make another move because that's the pressures that she's around. And so we're trying to, like, you don't always have to have that next thing planned right away. You can just educate yourself and kind of see what you want to do next. And so we had that whole conversation of how much your kids watch you. Yeah. And the good and the bad, right? Her feeling that pressure of making her next move because
I love that you brought that up because did you homeschool, Jessica?
Yes.
And you homeschooled towards the end, right? You homeschooled
not her, just my son.
Just your son. So I feel like in the homeschool community, it's a big thing to have your kids finish at like 16 to kind of let them, and not everybody does this, but it's definitely a common thing that they have them kind of rush through that high school part. They get them to start at junior college or whatever to get them started. And I was homeschooled and I finished high school at 16 and went to community college.
Oh, wow.
And I have this opinion that you get to be an adult with really stressful decisions and heavy weighted things happening for a very long time. There is no reason to rush those last 2 years, that 16, 17, 18, in order to like get started sooner. I don't actually understand where that trend came up with. Maybe it sounds cool, your kid graduated early or whatever, but I don't understand the rush with that.
I don't either. And the pressure she puts on herself is the worst.
Because that's what the society teaches us, right?
Yeah.
And then even what I went to college for, I went to college for supply chain management. I am not the least bit interested in that, because at that age, you have no clue what you want to do for the rest of your life. And we're also not exposed to enough stuff usually
to make that decision.
As little kids to make that decision, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it from like when they're really little, the question that they keep asking kids is like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And
Who
I'm like,
freaking knows?
I honestly never asked my kids that, and it's like kind of weird when like we were on a cruise and then they were like, we did this competition thing and like we had to answer the question and they had to write on the whiteboard, you know, like one of those family game things. And they're like, what does your kid want to be when they grow up? And I was like, I don't know. It changes from week to week. Like it depends what they learned or what mentor they had.
Oh my gosh, it also depends on where you live. Because I remember the first memory I have of being asked that question was I was a little kid in Mississippi. I was in like kindergarten or first grade. And in Mississippi, it's terrible, but I swear people care more about what people think of them there. And all the women, even my mother still, they have full faces of makeup every day. Their hair looks perfect. Their outfits are adorable. They have beauty pageants in the high school.
Oh my gosh.
Like beauty pageants are this huge thing, which I know there's a lot of people really into that pageant culture. But like all of the kindergarten, first grade girls are like, I want to be Miss America, right? And then if you think about your daughter, she wouldn't even know Miss America is an option.
No.
Right?
No.
And so it really depends on the environment you've been around.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it does. It does depend on that. And I think like from when I was little, I always said I wanted to be a teacher. And then I feel like because the stuff we tell ourselves really matters, right? So I just always had that idea that I was going to be a teacher, which I did. I became a teacher, but then I ended up doing like 5 other things after that, right? So I tell my kids like just, you know, you pick the thing, but then you don't have to, most people don't even stay with it their whole life, right? Like most people aren't even using the degrees and the credentials that they got.
We tell our kids we're still trying to figure out what we want to do when we grow up.
I'm still growing up.
So I think the better question is, who do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, and of course, Jessica comes with like the inspirational.
Yes, it is true.
My kids are college age, and everyone is pushing that. And even like to go to university, you need to choose a major, and it puts a lot of pressure. Because university is college. It's an investment for a family to send their kids. And so, my kids are like, well, you're investing all this money in me, and they know we could be investing it in something else. And they're like, what if I don't want to do this forever?
Yeah, that's a big
my response is, this is about becoming who you're becoming. This doesn't lock you in.
But most
to do this
parents put a lot of pressure on them, especially if they contribute to paying for college.
Yeah.
My husband got a doctorate in physical therapy, and they spent almost $500,000. I mean, because he's not only out of state, he's out of country.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They had to send him to the United States from Singapore. And throughout the whole process, they ended up spending almost $500,000 on his education. And he was literally only in the professional world of that for maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
And now his parents are like, WTF.
Yeah.
Right? And so, man, when people ask me, would you tell your kids to go to college or encourage that? I don't actually know the answer.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think it depends on the family. For us, because my kids were not raised in America, but they plan to live in America. This is historically, so many cultures have a rite of passage when children become adults. We've lost that. We don't have that rite of passage anymore.
Yeah.
And so for me, college is that rite of passage. It's like a
in between.
It's that in between where you're learning to be an adult, but you don't have all of that responsibility.
Yeah. And your daughter's even an RA, so she's
she's responsible for other people. But if she doesn't feel like cooking, there's a cafeteria to go to, and there's still structure and someone's helping plan out the schedule. Yeah. And so it feels like
where y'all live,
choices
she didn't have driver's license. She's just turned 20 and she's learned. Did she learn to drive before she got to school?
She's driving, but we didn't have enough time to complete the whole driver's license process. So but I think it just depends on what does that child need. That's why it's more important for them to know what they want to become than it is for them to know what they want to do.
Well, yeah, I think that's important because when I left teaching, and we've talked to other ladies too, right? When they leave their W-2s, whatever that profession is, you almost have this identity crisis, right? Because I was like, I am the autism program specialist, and if I'm not doing that, then who am I, right? And so that first year was a real struggle of my identity, so to speak, because I did it for 21 years, right? So if you're focusing more on who you are rather than what your profession is, and your identity comes from that core.
But it comes from that because every time you meet somebody out in public, whatever the case may be, oh, what do you do?
Correct. Yep.
It's one of the first questions people ask. And I bought my first property at 26. I'm 41, so I've had a lot, and to say what I do, I'm
it's so weird, right?
I'm I don't even know how to tell you what. I own a bunch of random stuff that supports me. I'm a real estate investor, and then they're like, can you help me buy a house? And I'm I don't know anything about buying houses. So no, I would not be a good one to help you buy a house. So it does become an awkward conversation.
It does,
and so I also had the habit, right? Because culturally, that's a habit. So instead, even with these podcast episodes, I've started ending them with asking people what's something you're working on that you're really excited about right now.
Yeah.
Because that tells you a lot more about somebody and who they are than and a lot of times they'll tell you something about their job they're excited about, which is great, right? But not everybody is going to tell you that.